a recap of like what was going on in your life before we started working together.
Whew, that's 2019. So we'll start physically. I mean, physically, I was probably the highest weight I'd ever been. Emotionally, like you just get tired of failing. Like that's the point I was at. I would lift like I was in high school and hit it hard for a couple weeks and then injure myself and it was like a vicious cycle. And I could never get like more than like 5, 10 pounds off before something would happen or I wouldn't change my workout. I was in a dark spot mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, it's when your weight's out of control, like nothing's working. Like you're not confident in your job, you're as a father, as a parent. It was a low spot for me compared to where I'm at now and where I feel like I can do now versus 4 years ago. So
Well, that's always great to hear, is because I mean I think it's it really tells something about you as a person, is that when you take action, you know what I mean, is that a lot of times we always sit here and contemplate like, I need to do something, something really needs to, I don't know, and we always think negatively of like other things
yeah.
out of our control that don't allow us to get there, and that's something that you took action for it, and that's
But you hit on the spot there with like that positive thinking, like you showing up every day and keeping the positive vibes going, like that helps so much in this process.
mhm.
Is you and all the things that we've done right, and knowing that we're continuing to do right, and your workouts are completely different than anything I've ever seen. And late 30s, I'm thinking, what's this nerdy little skinny dude gonna do for me? And next thing I know, like a 20-pound dumbbell is all we use, and I can't even pick it up to hit you in the face with it like I want to
Yeah.
some days. But
Oh wow, yeah, but that's why we box, and that's why
that's
we do the other
yeah,
things, and I think that's I mean, especially just, for my own style, is that I always like to make sure that it's fun, you know what I mean? And it's got to
yeah,
be something that you enjoy, because you can go up and do any type of program. I mean, every program's going to work as long as you follow it, but it's what can you sustain and what can you stick to and what can you actually enjoy doing. And that's why I like doing the yoga, the Pilates,
yeah.
the striking, the boxing, having these different modalities is for you to actually just pull out and choose from and say, all right, when we're not working together, well, I know how to do this. I can do
Right.
this. All right. I am tight in my shoulders. Well, I've learned this method of how to do this yoga stretch, and I think
And
that's
that's
important.
so much of what you've taught me. It's like now when I don't see you, it's the things that I can go do in the basement gym that are simple, that are
Hmm.
are, are high cardio pieces, quick pieces, and um, it's completely different workout than what I was trying to do 3, 4 years ago that I see a lot of my friends still doing today, and they end up getting hurt or falling off the wagon. I'm like, you gotta try the healthy Yinzer. Like
I'll
this
see. Oh,
this
I,
dude has this
I
dude's got a
appreciate that.
simple approach, and well, you've changed my
Yes.
life, man. Like
Well,
without losing the weight, you don't I don't think I find the confidence to change jobs, to be a better dad, to keep up with my kids. Like you've seen them. You work out. Like our kids have worked out with us how many times? Like,
yeah.
when I get that first phone call from the teacher for my older kid knocking somebody out, you're half to blame for that because you taught him how to punch. So you'll be sitting in there in the principal's office with me when we get that
No.
phone call.
Oh,
But
no.
it's been a family thing, dude. And
But
that's like
that's
my
but
kids love
that's
you, you
I
know?
appreciate that, because I think it's important, because especially for the kids, once they see you guys doing something, and changing your life, they're going to be more inclined to want to
Right.
pick up that behavior and that action. And then from when you're doing it, you're able to, prolong it. They got more energy than us, so that's a workout in its own right. So being
Yes,
able
it
to keep
is.
up with your kids, being able to, really just feel overall better about yourself, and like, I think that's, you
That's
know,
one of the reasons I
important.
started with you is I realized I couldn't keep up with my kids. I couldn't keep up with myself. And you came like really recommended from a great friend. And it's just following the practices that you said every day. And it's the way you teach. I mean, I could sit here and be like, there's this one thing, but there's probably like these 12 things that we did that like just doing them all together, it's like the perfect playbook of getting fit.
Yeah.
So
Well, I appreciate that, because I think,
yeah,
that's a lot of times when people, get into a fitness journey, a lot of the times they think that they need to do so much at once, right? It's like you got to go out here, you got to eat right, you got to do all this stuff. But us, I mean, we've layered it one step at a time, even to looking at to the point of like how many calories you're putting into your
yeah.
coffee creamer, right? And tell us about that. What was the
Oh.
Now, because we find, because I mean, the condiments, or people don't realize, is like,
Yeah.
the ketchup, the mayonnaise, all that stuff. It tastes great. I love it, but it creeps up over the course of a day, and people don't realize is that the coffee creamer is one of the biggest culprits of excess calories. So
Yeah, that wasn't fun, learning that piece because I remember that you're like, don't change your eating habits, just keep track of everything. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay, 5,000 calories a day is no big deal, and that was excluding a lot of things I look back on. But yeah, like if we were supposed to be at like a 2,000 to 3,000 calorie diet, I was putting 1,000 calories of coffee cream before 9 a.m.
yeah.
And that was like pure sugar.
Pure
So
sugar, fat, empty calories, and
yeah,
not doing you any good. And
no good, no good. So it's like little things like that where you're like, hey, try this type of coffee cream, try this piece. And, it wasn't stuff that we did like day one, like dropping sugar, but like I've really dropped sugar after seeing the difference in my body with it and without it. And that carries over to like my kids and why,
yeah,
they
kids
might
love
not
their
like me,
sugar.
but they do. I mean, I love my sugar,
I mean, I
but
do too. I mean, I will
but
never say no, but it's everything in moderation, right? And
that's
that's
it. Yeah.
and I think that's one of the biggest approaches is that for me and my style is that whenever like people are looking into like trying to eat healthy or just that fitness journey in its own right is sometimes people get scared. They're like, I,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to necessarily have to change everything I'm doing. I like this, I like that. But it's just really, I think the main thing is writing everything down just so you could see it
Yeah.
in front of you. Because I mean, I could tell you to do this and do that, and it's going to go through one ear, not the other. But it's not until you actually, and that goes into the behavior and the habit stuff that
Yeah.
I kind of get into teaching is that writing it down, looking at it, because now you have that visualization and the realization to go, holy shit, this actually is something that I can cut down on and be able to change it. And then you look at it, because if you're thinking 1,000 calories in the morning every day, what's that, 7,000 calories a
Just
week,
from just from
just
flavoring
from
coffee cream
yeah,
and
just from
not and
coffee.
not knowing and not knowing. And there's how many times did we talk about something and you're like, yeah, did you know? And I'm
Yeah,
like, nope, didn't know that one.
yeah,
And when it's just a learning process, I mean, you think about it, like, yeah, we want to eat healthy growing up, but we don't know what that is like. And the standard has changed from
every,
5 years ago to 10, 15, 20, and so forth. So no, it's and I like your exercises too. Like we never bulked except for like Christmas, like
yeah,
because of the sugar piece.
yeah,
And I think that's different. Like when I would go to gyms, it was, it, you're there to bulk. Everyone wants to, I mean, I'm having a 60-year-old guy try and teach me how to get bulked right before I met you. And I'm like, yeah, I lasted at that gym for like a month before I hurt my shoulder and couldn't go back.
it's
And
that
that was,
meathead mentality,
it,
which I
it
mean is
was.
good if that's
If
if
that's
that's what
your
you're
thing and
looking
that's
for.
what you're wanting to do, but listen, like that's what I thought I wanted too was, hey, I want beach body, but dude, like I'm 40 some years old. I'm just trying to keep up with my kids and be in shape. And
Yeah,
and here's the thing too, like all the different exercises that you would do, you called it functional fitness. It's like picking up like a laundry basket. I'm lifting it the same way that you like we've done workouts in the workout room, and I find myself like, oh yeah, I'm lifting it like I would a workout, not thinking about it. Where before it's like, all right, stop, lift with your legs. Everything changes. I mean,
yeah.
even when something falls off the shelf, you can catch it now. And you're like, where did
Their
that
hand
come
eye.
from?
And that's
Yeah,
from,
it's
what I mean? That's us boxing, and again, that's the different modalities. And because it's not like, and even, for myself is like training this way is that whenever broke my ankle, I was able to come back, and be able to do things,
yeah,
better, or just to be able to come back and be healthier because I've already built that, foundation, and for yourself, like you could see where the exercise actually, like, when
oh
we're
yeah,
exercising, it's like, you're feeling good about yourself, but it's like, how am I using this? Like, what
yeah.
application am I doing this? Unless I'm doing some type of sports or something. But yeah, like, what you said is like the functional fitness. It's like
That was your
making
word.
everyday life easier, for the tasks that we do, whether it's
Yeah,
standing up all day, sitting, in a desk, an office chair, how can we work at? Can we strengthen our shoulders, bringing it back? It's just, really for me, it's just like looking at you as an individual, not saying like, here is this, perfect program that is going to work and everybody's going to know, because that, I mean, it doesn't really work. It's about you as an individual. And that's
yeah,
like that's why, we work together, and that's why people hire coaches, is because a lot of the times they think they know exactly, oh, I already know what to do. but
I
then you
thought
get
so.
hurt, then you get into the injuries, and then now you don't want to do it anymore because you have this negative connotation of exercise. But and that's why I like to just throw a whole bunch of different things at you and see what actually sticks, and
Yeah.
see what you got. Now, we since we've been working together, now what did those are great benefits and I appreciate it, but like what results, like physically, mentally, body change, strength change, like what did you experience from us working together?
All of my goals were too low. I mean, honestly, dude, like we, I mean, I struggled for years to not hit a goal, and we like cruised past that goal without like, I'm going to say without trying, but I mean, there was a lot of trying and effort and failure
Oh,
in the
you're kicking
beginning.
ass, because
Yeah,
it takes work. Like I can give you the roadmap, right? But it takes you, and that's why, I
it's just
really
showing
only
up
work
every
with
day. Listen,
certain people is because you got to be able to want to take action. If you want to be able to be a sponge and say, all right, what can we do? What can you do for me? That's what I'm here.
yeah,
And I think that's important.
yeah. So no, we crushed those goals pretty quickly, and then just kept going. And it was like, let's see where we can go. And I don't know if this is a thing, but like at one point, I'm like, man, I almost feel like I need to put a little weight back on. Especially to like stop and buy. Here's a warning: you're going to buy a lot of clothes if you go through this program. Like you didn't warn me about how much clothes I was going to have to buy because I'm like, oh, I've hit my ideal weight. We're going to buy new clothes. Well, those are now like my fat clothes.
Yeah.
So and like you just talk about like mental space, like I just look back and it's like you can't get out of your own way. Like I look back and I'm like, I just want someone that's going to help me and just give me a program and let me work on it. Let me lose some weight. Like I'm not trying to own the world anymore and be, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just
Mhm.
I just want to be healthy. Like you start getting to a point as you creep up in age, like if I keep going the way I'm going to die. Like that's it. Like that's where I was. Like I'm not gonna be able to keep up with my kids. I'm not athletic anymore. I just feel you feel like a failure. Like I was a high school athlete and now,
Yeah.
look at me. I'm Humpty Dumpty on the wall. And how many times did I try and fail before you got the plan? It's just sticking to the plan. And it's nothing that I'm sticking to the plan today and I'm happier, I'm more limber, I'm loose. I ran 4 miles over the weekend and I don't run. We don't run in your program. Like, I don't like to run, but I'm with a group of guys who are like, let's go for a small jog. Sure.
and
4 miles.
but
And I
that's
kept
but
up
that's
with
it.
those guys. They're training for a marathon and I kept up with them and I don't run.
Yeah.
But it's just the physical fitness that we've been doing for apparently now for 4 years.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
um,
that's, you brought up a good point because it's like being able to just resort, like have that in the tank. You know what I mean? If somebody
yeah.
says, hey, let's go for a walk, and, maybe deep down inside, that that's not something you do. But physically now it's like, oh shit, I could do this.
And
Let's
here,
do it, push
and here's
yourself
the
because
yeah,
you're
and
getting
here's
out
the
of your
thing
comfort zone.
on the days we work out, like I don't know, you know about the endorphins better than I do what happens, but it's like I can go out and make all my sales calls. I can rule the world, and my mental space on the days that I work out, it's like unstoppable. On the days I don't work out, it's like, oh, I didn't today. It just it brain fogs you the whole day
Mm-hmm.
when you planning to work out and you don't. So that's just half the battle, just doing something. I mean, there were
Just
days
something.
like,
Yeah.
gosh, I was dying and didn't want to do it, and we just kept pushing on, and nowhere, no, did I never said like, man, I wish I wouldn't have worked out today. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think those words have ever come out, but the opposite have come out. But if you miss a day, just get back to it. That's all.
And that's one of the big things too, is like, that accountability thing. And I think that's, one of the biggest things for like my in-person, services is like, be all right, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And then it's like, well, you got somebody coming, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like, and especially like when you're doing like the online and the virtual type of thing, it's like, how does that translate to, how do you get like the one-on-one care for somebody? But I think it's almost like, because now you've been diving deep into the app, you can see all this stuff, but you can see that it's a lot of messaging, a lot of accountability, a lot of
It is.
tracking that you get. You're still working with me, personally, but you're also getting more because I think now, now that I'm breaking up into the technological age, you're able to, not really just not only like track your stuff, but be able to have
Yeah.
everything at the palm of your hand. And being that we're all on our phone at the anyways,
Right.
having all that access to your information and having access to me, messaging me and doing stuff like that, I think now is just, it's important because it just especially for you in person and, working together and, clients like that. But now if you're, somewhere else and you want to work with me, it makes it that much easier.
And
And
they
it's just,
should, dude. How many times did we do virtual? Like, think
yeah,
about this. We went virtual in the pandemic. Like,
yeah, that is
no one was
true.
allowed to
Yeah.
leave the house. And not to bring up your injury, but like when you were injured, dog, you were still coaching us from your like, I don't know if you were in the hospital bed or where
Yeah.
you were, but like
I
we're
was
like,
in
no,
the
I
bed.
got you guys. You can't miss that workout. I've
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
You're up there with the leg up with like 30 pins in it, and you're motivating us at this point, homie. Like, so the virtual does work because we did virtual a long time between the pandemic and your injury,
Yeah.
and we just kept going, man. Like,
Yeah. And
and
so,
that's the
and it's just bringing different value, and different stuff like that. And like, it just shows that, you can do, especially for yourself, like you set the goal of like, I wanted to be able to do something for myself. I want to be able to do this. And then now, years later, still being able to maintain it. Cause I think that's, everybody watches like The Biggest Loser or something like
yeah,
that, where they lose drastic weight loss, and, I put your picture in the email for people, for the challenge. And they were like, wow, he lost a lot of weight. And so, you know,
yeah.
it's like how do you maintain that, and I think that's always the biggest thing. And it's like that's not like for me and like coaching is not necessarily like, all right, we're gonna cut this weight down, and then now you're just left with no tools in the toolbox. Like everything that I'm
That's a
teaching
good.
is something that you can stick with you for really lifetime.
Yeah, you make a great point there because, like, looking back to my old workouts, we changed so much behavior on everything that we did, and it's like it's just maintenance now. Like,
Hmm.
it's routine, it's maintenance, and it's I got sugar-free coffee creamer that I use a quarter of what I used to. That is a change that like took
That's
place
mate.
four
Yeah.
years. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Your food, like all the ideas, like it's so much with your food ideas. Like, beyond being honest, like last year, I know I wasn't in the gym. That was probably the least amount I was in the gym. But when I would go to work out, it was your style of workouts and high intensity stuff. But it was so much just the food and the diets, like, and not even diet, just because it's your program, and I wish I could describe it and come up with a cool name for it. But like, how you laid out
I need to
how we
come up with a
eat,
cool
when to
name
eat,
for it.
what you need. Yeah, you do need a cool name for it. But there's so many things like with the food plan, and I can't tell you how many times it'd be like 70-80% of what you do is the food. That's your language.
Yeah.
And but you're right, because I feel like before, like, all right, let's go from this weight to let's just say 210. And you get halfway there, then you fail, and you're like, oh, well, at least I did it. But the next thing you know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, you're back to all the old habits, all the old pieces. And what would happen for me, like, I would lose that weight, and then I'd rapidly gain that weight back and be worse than I was before. I'm like, man, like nothing worked. But now it's like you get on the routine, and it's the change of lifestyle. I think that's where I was. Like, I was like, I've got to do something. I just don't know what to do.
Hmm.
And there you were, like, oh, we'll just do this. And it's simple. And it was simple. Like, I think back, I'm like, kind of hard to believe, like 4 years, 60 some pounds ago, dude. Like,
60
I,
pounds. Yeah. Wow.
yeah, like,
That's
yeah, I
amazing.
would,
You know?
yeah, like, I've lost over 12 inches in my waist, like the belly, like all the additional side effects of that. Like, I could run and keep up with my friends. Like, I went from the fattest guy in my group to like, now they're like, well, you might be the skinniest. I'm like, oh, get ready for 20 years of torture if I'm weighing less than all of you
Yeah.
clowns.
You don't
Like,
know what's gonna happen then. No,
yeah. And no, you cannot use my trainer to get better than me. Hopefully they're not watching this, but like, dude, it's changed my whole life,
I appreciate
everything.
that.
So no, I appreciate it, man. Like, it's true. I mean, my kids are going to be better because of it. My kids will have healthier tips because of you. Like, so
Yeah,
it's
and they're
everything.
athletic, and they're keeping
Yeah,
themselves going. And and that's, I think, when they, like, we talked about it before you even mentioned it, but it's like, when they pick up the habits, it's literally everything, because you're learning the healthy habits. I'm teaching you some of these healthy
yep.
habits, some ways to kind of just better off your life. And then you don't realize that what you do reflects onto your children, and then
Oh
how
yeah, I
they
do.
interact with the world and how they do things. So it's just one of those things, is you're just breeding positivity into the world, and just trying to, get rid of all those negative thoughts, all those negative connotations, all those negative things that we're thinking of, because now you're focusing on yourself and being that,
Yeah,
you've taken action, you're going for it. That's the best thing we could do, is just take care of ourselves. And you don't realize where you're at until you start improving in somewhere, in some aspects of your life, because like you said, now you're able to make sales calls, you're able to do all these different things that it's automatic, and
Yeah.
you're feeling fresh, and I think that's one thing with like exercise that's important, fitness and just in general, not about necessarily my program, but just like exercise in general, is that it is, if it was a pill that was prescribed by a doctor, everybody would take it, so
Yes.
unfortunately you got to put in the work to do it, but at the end of the road, that's a huge accomplishment because you accomplished something, and a
Yeah.
goal, and then how that mentally makes you feel is so much better, because now anything that happens after that, you can accomplish it instead of sitting there thinking negatively about it all.
And and it's when people understand like how much weight you've lost, I think they've found like they treat you differently. Like it's a respect, like, wow, if you can lose that much weight, you can do anything. It's like, no kidding. If I can lose that much weight, I really can do anything.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
It's
like the
hard. It's the
fast.
hardest thing in the world. Behavior change is literally the hardest thing to do in the world. Nobody likes to change their behaviors. Nobody likes to do anything. We always feel that we're set in our own ways and we're good, and the way of
Yeah.
life is the way of life. But once you realize, there's that one day that some of us come up to and we go, hey, um, shit, I do need to make a change, and when that day happens, obviously I'm the guy for you, but
You're the homie.
I'm the homie for you. But the thing is like a lot of people can be there. It's just, that social support, that access, it's just that really I always say it's day one or one day, right? And it's
Yeah.
it's up to you to decide when that's gonna happen, and even if you fall, you've worked out, you fell off the wagon a couple months, a couple years, you don't look back at all the negatives. You just pick right back up and you just say, all right, here we are, especially like
Yeah.
even for me, like I lost 30 pounds whenever I was injured, like
Wow.
and so it's like, and a lot of that was muscle mass, my leg was a wet noodle, and so it's like for me, I could have looked at that and been like, oh shit, this sucks. But, knowing that, I've been here before, I've been skinny dude, let me just keep building it up, and it's just this,
Yeah.
you don't stop, because once you stop, you really, you kind of give up, and then you don't want to give up and have that mentality, because now that stays with you for the
It's
rest of your
easier to
life.
keep going. It's so easier to keep going than to restart. Like just keep going. Even if
Yeah.
it's a crap workout, just keep
Just
going.
keep going. As long as you show up 50,
That's it.
10%, give me 50%, and that's better than not showing up, and that's, there's so much science and stuff behind that. But
Oh, and
awesome.
your
I
son.
don't want to keep you too long. We had a great conversation, and yeah, let's meet, let's talk, let's call me, text me, and we'll get this stuff together.
Let's do it
We'll hook
again.
up. I appreciate all the words. You're the man.
Uh, dude, right back at you, man. Like I wouldn't be here. Like I would be here, if I was lucky, if it wasn't for all the things we did together. And so, no, I love you, brother. You know that.
Awesome.
So,
Love you too, man.
all
You're
right. Hope
the
this
man.
video worked for you. Stay out of trouble.
Thank you.
All right, dude.
Bye.
Later.